Welcome to the wonderful world of journey mapping. But Megan, what even is a journey map? Am I on a life quest?
So a journey map is a great tool that we can use inside of our businesses to really look at our services, our experiences, and even using our products from the point of view of our key users.
I see. Okay, now we're gonna be seeing a template here in just a second about one of many versions of a journey map.
That's right.
One of the caveats I always like to share is that I don't know if I've ever seen two journey maps done the same. How about you?
No, they really do need to be adapted for the needs of the service that you're trying to map.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our board and walk through how we might organize this relative to, let's say, a storyboard or a what's on your radar moment, other elements and patterns that we're gonna be ultimately expressing in this design kit. So let's go ahead and zero in what hopefully feels at this point as a familiar format for a journey map. The journey map ultimately has instructions on your left-hand side, and as you can see on the top right-hand side, we all have some example output. But Megan, why don't you walk us through a little bit about what kinds of things we're gonna be exploring with a journey map?
Great. So step one to creating a journey map is aligning on whose journey we're actually building, right? So the first thing we wanna do is agree as a group on who the customer is or who the key stakeholder is that we're designing for. That helps us to make sure that we're all talking about the same journey when we get to that point of the process.
Okay, so just to be clear, if I have multiple different customer types, let's say I have a single buyer from a household versus the whole family making a decision, that would be on two separate journey maps?
You might want to create two journey maps for each of those populations because maybe their journeys are different. And sometimes knowing where those journeys are different helps us to understand either how we need to design specifically for someone or to design one experience that encompasses everyone.
I see. Now, could I use a journey map about the average student applying to university or maybe an early stage professional navigating their career, or are they only reserved for people that are exploring how people are going to use software or hardware in the world?
Anytime that someone is going to engage with some topic over time, we can create a journey map on it, right? So if I wanted to journey map out how I'm going to plan my vacation this summer, I could make a journey map that shows what I'm doing at each step of the process.
Okay, perfect. Now, is the goal in your lens, or one of many goals I'd imagine for a journey map, to get everyone on the same page, or is it to be ideating and being creative? Like, am I measuring what is going? Am I measuring what's going to be going? Like, what moment in time? Is it the existing past and the norms and benchmarks, or is it the aspiration?
So when we think about a journey map, what we're really building is a model. And we do have to ask ourselves, are we building a model of what is today, or are we building a model of what we're envisioning in the future? If we're earlier in our project, we may want to be building a model of what currently exists and being really honest with ourselves about how people are moving through our service experience or our product experience. After we've had the opportunity to do some design, we may come back and build another journey map that represents sort of the ideal that we would like people to have. But a journey map should be looking at the journey through the user's point of view, not how we think the journey should be.
Oh, I see. Well said. And I notice you have a couple of interesting kind of frames. So I get the top of this particular journey map, which is, where they are in the cycle, on things like, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And I'm assuming that could be, in our example, output, it could be, when I'm thinking about getting hungry and ordering pizza, then when I pull out my phone along the way. But what does doing, thinking, and feeling really mean in terms of strategic design?
When we think in terms of feeling, thinking, and doing, we want to make sure that we're accounting for things that are maybe more hidden for our users and aren't as obvious as what they're actually doing when they're engaging with our service or experience, right? So we could probably all guess what people are doing at different points along the journey, but thinking and feeling really require us to have empathy and an understanding of our user's journey in order to honestly fill out those boxes.
Okay, great. And so I think now I get it. Let me say it back to you. The idea is I choose my phases or my major milestones of a particular experience that someone's having today.
Absolutely.
Let's stick because I'm particularly hungry about ordering pizza. My phase 1 is recognizing maybe it's time to eat or it's meal time. My phase 2 might be placing my order, my phase 3 might be waiting with great anticipation of my pizza to arrive, and my phase 4 might be celebrating with family and friends. Now, is there a right or a wrong way to label all of my columns, or should we ultimately choose whatever is relevant to our individual journey?
It's probably going to be whatever's relevant to our individual journey. We may want to have some discussion about whether or not we've identified the right milestones, and that's something that we could negotiate as a group, as a collaborative group, as we're working together on this board.
Okay, now what happens if you and I are doing different things? So let's say when you're getting hungry, you happen to be, giving a presentation to a senior executive about some global initiative, and I happen to be doing laundry around the house when I'm getting hungry in this particular day. Do we put both of those experiences in the same box? Should I create different journeys? How does that work?
Well, that's a really good question. It does go back to who our target user is. So maybe when our target user is getting hungry and deciding it's time to eat, they're in one place, but maybe they could be in different places. And so we may want to account for sort of those different entry points on this journey.
Okay, great. Now, what if we end up being in the same place? Let's say you and I are both doing an executive presentation or something else around the house, but we're thinking different things. I'm thinking, wow, I really need to close this sale, or I'm going to get fired. And you're thinking, this client loves me and I love this client, and we're going to conquer the world together and have really big impact. Should those thoughts, even if we're in the same place but very different, be in the same box, or should they be in wildly different sections?
Well, because they're occurring at this same time, we could use our Post-it notes to put both of those thoughts in this same section. We have enough room for it. And maybe we decide later that one stays and one goes, or maybe we find some way to design this box to show that each of these thoughts could be happening simultaneously.
Excellent. Okay, and I'm imagining we can continue this process along the journey, being very iterative and making sure to involve all the key stakeholders that perhaps we've done in our other template, like a stakeholder map, are being present and represented in this dynamic?
That's right.
Excellent. Now, we did include another example for this journey map, which is just sort of another iteration around more of an emoji lens on when am I delighted, when am I tolerating you, when am I really showing negativity and resentment. Why shift from a what I'm thinking, feeling, and doing to more of an emotional connotation, or sort of my satisfaction with the product or service?
Well, there are a lot of times that we have that information from our customers about their journey, right? We may have satisfaction scores, and we may know very specifically that people really like this phase of the journey or are really disappointed with this phase of the journey. And thinking in terms of emojis may help us to get those thoughts out there and really see where in the journey our breakdowns are.
Well, what I really appreciate what you're saying, Megan, is that this is only one potential place to collaborate and only one mechanism to organize data and information, but surveys, primary and secondary research, focus groups, guerrilla marketing, any of these other tools and tactics can also be incorporated in the data. So I don't just need to do thinking creatively and guessing. I can use all these other forms of information data as well.
That's right. Anything that we've used to understand the current state of the experience, any knowledge that we have about the current state of the experience can come together on a journey map to outline the journey that any of our users is going to have.
Really well said, Megan. Okay, great. So we've covered the idea of being intentional with the user that we're going to build this map against. We've covered the idea that this is, again, honoring our spirit of iterative and incremental. In fact, it can be something that we capture every 3 to 6 months, or at least challenge or reevaluate along the way. And we know there's definitely no limitation on bringing other forms of data in and around this idea of a storyboard. Right. Are there any other tips or tricks that you've seen when you're coaching, C-suite executives or less technical or design-oriented executives about how to think or utilize a journey map?
So it is really helpful once we've created the entire map to be able to find those places where we really think there's an opportunity to design. So if we go up here to our example, we may identify that it's actually the checkout part of our process where people are having the most issues. A journey map helps us to kind of pinpoint that and then begin to decide as a design group, hey, we need to be more focused on the checkout experience inside of this larger journey.
Well said. So a few other tactics that I use as well is sometimes I use this with chief financial officers to talk about how we need to organize our budget focus and where the most dissatisfied customers are. Other times I've used this in call centers to retrain on scripts, or even use it as the fundamental input for an AI bot that's using conversational UI, maybe in a checkout process, maybe in a discovery process to work around. I also start to use this as a mechanism to turn out things like frequently asked questions on my website, or discover unique ways that customers are actually asking about improving the service or the delivery. And of course, at the most foundational level, this is where I obviously source some of my biggest advocates and raving fans, as well as some of the people that care about the brand or service, but ultimately are detractors and are looking for an outlet to organize this. Well, no matter where you use this Miro board, Megan and I hope that you can find a path for it to use it on your daily basis, whether you're on the business and strategy end of the world or you're working hands-on keyboard inside the technology or engineering function at a business. You can also remember to link these Miro boards, templates, or the exports like PDFs in things like project management tools or inside the agenda at your very own calendar, whether you're using Office 365, Google, or anything else along the planet. Again, think about these journey maps as another way to get alignment, organization, and create healthy conversation with interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary teams. Okay, well, I think that's everything we had to say for now about journey maps. We're excited to see where you explore. And again, as always, please leave us your feedback, send us your notes, or make suggestions about how we can make this better for our community. Have a great day.
Thanks.